Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, October 3, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems, that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the day has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And we can see that as of their latest update that just came out at 7:18 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:18 p.m. Jamaica time, so about an hour ago, we still have that area highlighted across the Gulf of Mexico. It has jumped from a code yellow back up to a code orange that has a medium chance of development. And we can say we still have Hurricane Kirk, which is definitely a major hurricane as we speak. And to the southeast of Kirk, we have Tropical Storm Leslie. Let us focus our attention on the disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico first. So we're going from left to right. And we can see that as of the Hurricane Center's latest update, they state here, a trough of low pressure is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms over a portion of the central and western Gulf of Mexico. A broad area of low pressure is expected to form over the south central or southwestern Gulf of Mexico this weekend. Gradual development is possible after the low develops, and a tropical or subtropical depression or storm could form during the early or middle portions of next week, while the low moves slowly eastward. Regardless of development, locally heavy rains could occur over portions of Mexico during the next few days and over portions of the Florida Peninsula from late this weekend into next week. We see that they've given it a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours and a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. So lots of rainfall in store for those areas, Mexico into Florida for sure. And we see that we have Hurricane Kirk and Hurricane Leslie. And before we get into the statistics regarding those systems, let us take a look at the latest infrared satellite images. You can see the clouds associated with what's to come of the system across the Gulf of Mexico, definitely setting the stage for what's to happen across portions of Mexico and Florida in the coming weekend into early next week. We can see major Hurricane Kirk right there spinning away. Definitely that buzzsaw classic look with the eye right there in the center around the central dense overcast. That's the CDO. Look at those thunderstorms. Look at those high cold cloud tops as represented by the yellows, oranges, reds, and blacks. And we can see the clouds associated with Tropical Storm Leslie right there to the southeast of Kirk, definitely being shared by that upper level outflow from Kirk in general. But as soon as Kirk lifts northward, Leslie is definitely going to be having a chance to be taking advantage of the very warm waters of the main development region, and definitely going to be making it all the way up to major hurricane status as well. Regarding the latest on Hurricane Chris, as stated, it is now packing maximum sustained winds of 130 mile per hour winds. And we can definitely see it right here. That makes it a low-end Category 4. So we know Category 4 strength has winds anywhere from 130 miles per hour all the way up to 156 miles per hour. So it's definitely right there. It's a low-end Category 4. And I want for you to keep in mind that this is basically just on estimates based on satellite imagery data. So the Hurricane Center, they haven't sent any planes from Miami all the way into the system as yet, especially considering that it is way out to sea and it is not going to be affecting land, so they don't really feel the need to get any additional data on it. So it could be stronger than this because they're just using satellite imagery data to confirm that it's just a low-end Category 4 at this time. It could be a Category 5 or so, or it could be a high-end Category 4 actually. But right now, they're basically just using the satellite data. Right now, it's moving towards the northwest at 12 miles per hour. So it should remain a major hurricane into Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then by 2 p.m. on Sunday, we see that it's expected to downgrade to an H. You know, the H represents hurricane status. Then as we can see, it's definitely going to be skipping and moving quickly. It's right here to the east, northeast of Bermuda, 2 p.m. on Sunday. And look at where it's supposed to be by 2 p.m. on Monday. Definitely moving quickly by that time, right there to the northwest of the Azores Island. And then possibly affecting portions of Western Europe later on down the road. So I hope those persons over there are paying close attention to this system. If we take a look at Tropical Storm Leslie, as of the latest update, packing maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour. So it's definitely right there as a medium range tropical storm, not a low end tropical storm, not a high end tropical storm. Definitely right there, smack dab in the middle. And we can see that as of right now, it's moving towards the west at 6 miles per hour. Then it's expected to lift northward, so it's going to be moving towards the northwest. Definitely going to be, you know, strengthening to a hurricane as we see the H's as early as 2 p.m. on Friday, and then possibly making it all the way up to major hurricane status by the M by around 2 p.m. on a Monday. Well, 2 p.m. on Tuesday, sorry. We can definitely see that the cone of uncertainty is definitely wide as we start to get into Monday. So who knows, maybe this track might change. We have to pay close attention. As of right now, the hurricane center is sure that it's going to be pushing towards the northwest or the west northwest, but anywhere after Sunday they're not really sure if it's going to be going more westward, if it's going to be continuing on that northwestern track, or if it's going to be pushing northward. So we have to pay close attention. When it definitely passes the 20-degree north line of latitude, then we can be sure that we're out of the woods here in the Caribbean. But as of right now, there's definitely some uncertainty as we head into Monday and Tuesday. So we have to stay updated to see exactly what Leslie does. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what she does too. And regarding the system in the Gulf of Mexico, we know the next name after Leslie is Milton. So if this system does indeed get a name, definitely Milton is next in line. Then hopefully we don't get Nadine, Oscar, Patty, Raphael, Sarah, Tony, Valerie, or William at all. If anything, we just get some rainfall, tropical waves. That's what we want, to keep the temperatures down and to keep the water in our pipes. Don't need any tropical systems, any tropical storms, hurricanes at this time. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can still have a ridge of high pressure right here to the northwest of Africa. Don't see much in the way of high pressure ridges across the area. So we don't have that strong easterly flow that we usually have across the main development region into the Caribbean, which explains why Kirk is pushing northward, definitely being dragged by that trough. And then basically Leslie is going to be going on the same path. Don't have that strong high pressure ridge that we had at Bermuda High that steered Beryl into the Caribbean. We're indeed grateful for that, but we wish we had the windy conditions, you know, to cool the temperatures down. And we can definitely see that most of these clouds across the Caribbean are not pushing from east to west at all. The clouds don't even know where to go. We don't have that strong easterly flow. We can definitely make out the clouds associated with what's expected to form over the Gulf of Mexico right there. We can make out the clouds associated with Kirk right there, spinning away as we speak. And we can definitely make out the clouds associated with Leslie right there, definitely being shared as we speak. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean today later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, October 3, 2024. Alright, so it was stated that we would have had some amount of rainfall, mainly across sections of some central and western parishes, but we highlighted in yesterday's video that we couldn't rule out some rainfall for the western portions of eastern Jamaica, like areas like Western Portland, section of Southern St. Mary's, section of Kingston and St. Andrew, as well as Western St. Thomas, and we definitely got in on some of the action. By the way, before we jump into what took place, let us remind our viewers, you know that Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth. Central parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While we know Eastern parishes, well, the western portion of Eastern parishes, we're talking about Western Portland, Western St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. And what ended up happening? A post was made here on our Twitter page of Weather Jamaica at around 3:15 p.m. And I want for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made here on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So the infrared close-up satellite image of Jamaica was posted, and it highlighted the high cold cloud tops that represent the cumulonimbus clouds. We saw the blues, the greens, the yellows, oranges, reds, and the blacks within all of that. That represents some amount of isolated thunderstorm activity, and we saw the sparkling white dots that will represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. Definitely had that across portion of Hanover, Westmoreland, section of Northern St. Elizabeth, Southern St. James, Southern Trelawney, sections of Southern St. Mary, Northern St. Catherine, as well as portion of St. Andrew, Western Portland, and Western St. Thomas for sure. Well, Northwestern St. Thomas for sure. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the summer down, we can definitely make out what happened. Definitely had the clouds building across inland areas of some central and western parishes. Then the high cold cloud tops were being sheared off towards the southwest, just as predicted, with that northeasterly wind shear. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite images before the sun went down, we can definitely see what took place. The thunderstorms definitely lashed portion of central and western parishes in Jamaica for the most part, and the western section of eastern Jamaica gotten on the brunt of the thunderstorm activity. Look at that. Across Western Portland, Northwestern St. Thomas, section of Kingston, St. Andrew, and even in the late afternoon hours, we definitely had some thunderstorms across section of Kingston, closer to the coastal areas as well. And we also saw bursts of thunderstorms right there across northwestern Manchester, northeastern St. Elizabeth, and even portions of Trelawney as well. And we definitely can confirm the rainfall that portions of Kingston got in on during the late afternoon hours. This live stream from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing crossroads at around 5:48 p.m. By the way, keep in mind that these live streams are here on YouTube. You can subscribe. They show Crossroads halfway through, the panoramic view, the Kingston Harbor, Flatbridge, Barbican. So subscribe today because they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have across the Jamaica area. And if you take a look here, we're definitely getting in on that rainfall for sure. At 5:48, we see persons with their umbrellas. We see cars with their windshield wipers on. If you can actually make out what's taking place, they were definitely getting nailed. Look at that. We can barely see the hills of St. Andrew. Definitely getting in on some amount of heavy rainfall at that time. Look at that. We can barely even see the buildings of New Kingston for sure. Just to confirm that we definitely had some moderate to heavy rainfall across the corporate area today. And if we take a look at the very latest infrared satellite image, we're going to be looking at the latest still image. Alright, so this is as of 0:25 UTC, which is actually 7:25 p.m. Jamaica time. So this just came out about what, 14 minutes ago. We can still see that we have some lingering isolated thunderstorms right there across northern Manchester, section of Trelawney. As we speak, we see the sparkling white dots. We know wherever we have the sparkling white dots, we're having some kind of rainfall taking place for sure. And if we match it to what we're seeing on the latest cube and Doppler radar images, I think we can make out some of this rainfall on by the greens and yellows. Not seeing it 100%. This is why we really need the Jamaican Doppler radar to be fixed. Either way, the rest of the island right now definitely clearing out, definitely fear as we speak. If we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar Station, seeing some isolated shores across portions of southeastern Cuba, some rainfall right there across section of the western peninsula of Haiti as well. Regarding what's happening on the Cayman radar, I think we can make out that rainfall that section of Trelawney and northern Manchester are having. We just saw in the last frame right there, the blues right there. This is very good. We're seeing it for sure. We can also make out some rainfall across sections of Cuba and some rainfall right there to the waters to the west of the Cayman Islands. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look here at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Friday. When calculated, that's about 1 p.m. on Friday. And we can see Jamaica right here, for the most part, embedded in some slight yellow colors. And we can see by the key on the right, the yellow colors are representative of at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of October across Jamaica are about 89 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.6 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 32 degrees Celsius at most, given the 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature rise for Friday's temperature. So 31 to 32 for the most part across the island. That's expected. So we know what we have to do to beat the heat. Always stay hydrated. Drink a lot of water throughout the day. Even if you're not thirsty, stay hydrated. Please ensure that you eat a lot of fruits. I cannot stress this enough. You can never go wrong with watermelon, apples, grapes, and especially considering that tomorrow is Friday, dress down. Don't have to be wearing those long sleeves at all. Definitely dress down as much as you possibly can. If we take a look here at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Friday, excuse me, we can definitely see the majority of South America, the Caribbean, Central America, North America in the clear. All of the dust associated with the Sahara Desert, as represented by the browns, are across the eastern portion of the main development region, as well as the northeastern section of the North Atlantic right there. We're indeed grateful that we're not getting in on much of anything. You can also see some of the dust being wrapped into this system right here, Hurricane Kirk. And it's not even doing much to affect Kirk at all. Definitely in the clear for the most part, not really ingesting much in the way of dust to, limit its potential. Still made it all the way up to category 4 strength, just to show that it is definitely a formidable system. If we take a look here at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that the highest waves are still where we have Kirk right there, the purples, the burgundies, the oranges, the whites within all of that. That represents 2 to 9 or more meter wave heights. It all makes sense because that's where the highest or the strongest winds are. The yellows, the gold, the burgundies, the blues, all the way up into the ranges that represent major hurricane status. So it all makes sense. While the Caribbean getting in on those lighter shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height to 1 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong across or air at all, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots at most, especially in and around Jamaica, the Central Caribbean, as well as the Eastern Caribbean. Not even seeing much in the way of winds across the Eastern Caribbean at all. Definitely variable winds for the most part. And if we take a look at the forecast for tomorrow, look at these maps. Winds are not even that, definite, not even showing exactly where they're coming from. Both the Euro and the GFS models kind of showing something a bit different. Either way, look here. We're working with the GFS. And we can definitely see that for tomorrow on the north coast, we see more of a northeasterly kind of flow across the island, if not east-northeasterly. And we see that right there, even to the southeast of us, which means that the air is going to be piling up, especially on the south coast, if I'm not mistaken. So that's where we're going to be having those cumulus clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. That's where we might have that daytime heating diurnal convection. And with the upper-level winds still forecast to come in from the northeast tomorrow, it's definitely going to be favoring more of that rainfall still across southern parishes in Jamaica. High cold clouds blowing off to the south. More overcast skies across southern Jamaica, if not more light rainfall, if not more thunderstorms in general. And we know southern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And the rainfall forecast maps are quite interesting. So it's expected that with that northeasterly flow of winds, we're going to be having that usual morning rainfall. We're starting to get in on that Christmas type of weather for the north coast, where Portland usually gets most of the rainfall. We can see the Euro model right here, as well as the GFS model right here. And they're both showing 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time. And we do see the blues represent rainfall across northern Jamaica for sure on both maps. Section of St. Anne, St. Mary, section of Portland, Michael, and some of the action. We see some of the blues out to sea on the GFS, some of it on land. Euro, more robust, definitely making sense. So look out for that early morning rainfall on the north coast. And then it's quite interesting. I've never seen something like this before, but look at this. This is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 10 a.m. Jamaica time. And we see some amount of rainfall across especially some eastern and central parishes in Jamaica. And the Euro definitely a bit robust with the darker blues and greens and yellows within all of that. GFS has some dark blues across the island as well. Quite interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I'm more inclined to believe that that could be cloud cover more than anything else for that time of day, and we don't have diurnal convection. If it's not some strong rainfall coming in from the east northeast, then I'm not buying this at all. More inclined to believe that it's overcast skies. But as of right now, this is what the models are showing for 10 a.m. tomorrow. We're seeing some amount of rainfall on both the Euro and the GFS models. It's gonna be interesting to see what unfolds. Take this forecast with a grain of salt. It could be that we're getting sunshine. It could be that we're getting cloud cover instead. But as of right now, we're seeing blues. So it could be some rainfall. We'll see how that goes. I'm more inclined to believe that if we see it in the afternoon hours. So let's look at the actual afternoon hours. Actually, during the afternoon, it's only the GFS that's showing some real rainfall across especially eastern, central, and western parishes, especially southern Jamaica at around, let's say, 3 p.m. Jamaica time. Euro not showing much of anything, but where they're showing consensus is actually for 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 12 p.m. Jamaica time. We see 12 p.m. Jamaica time showing some amount of rainfall across the island from the east to the west. And we see that both maps are in consensus, that right there across inland areas of central Jamaica as well as western Jamaica, northern Clarendon, northern Manchester, northern St. Elizabeth, going to be getting the brunt of it. Look at this. The Euro even more robust with the greens, yellows, and oranges in there across those same spots, even incorporating southwestern St. Anne, section of Trelawney, St. James, and Hanover. We'll see how that goes. Quite an interesting day tomorrow. And we see that both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus. That's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 3Z on Saturday when calculated. That's all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. We can see the GFS right here showing the greens, the yellows, the gold, the oranges. That represents anywhere from 0.2 all the way up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall, maybe 0.5 or 0.52 of an inch of rainfall. Euro a bit more robust, showing all the way up to the reds that represent 0.88 of an inch of rainfall, even across portion of Kingston, St. Andrew, section of Manchester for sure. We'll see how all of that goes. Either way, we're indeed grateful that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica. And I wouldn't put it past October in general, considering that we're in the wettest month of the year. We could definitely get in on that rainfall. We could get in on some isolated flash flooding as well in some spots. We can see the bar graph right here showing that usually for the month of October in Kingston, we usually get all the way up to close to 170 millimeters of rainfall. That's, if I'm not mistaken, 100. Let's see, let's calculate it so that I'm not making any errors. 170 millimeters, about what? The same as, let's say, 7 inches of rainfall, if I'm not mistaken. In Montego Bay, we usually receive what, almost 7 inches of rain. Well, I'm looking at September right here, so almost 8.5 inches of rainfall for the month of October. When calculated, 8.5 inches of rainfall is about the same as about what, 212 millimeters of rainfall, if I'm not mistaken. And that's what usually happens throughout the year, and this is based on data from 2019 from weatherandclimate.com. And I want for you to keep in mind that you too can visit this website to find out about what your specific parish receives throughout the year. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that converts the rainfall that we usually receive on the rain gauge from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the calculations yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see that definitely we had some thunderstorms a large portion of Puerto Rico today. Still have some leftover clouds, still affecting portion of Florida, Cuba, the Cayman Islands as we speak, Central America, Northern South America from Venezuela, Colombia, Guyana, Suriname, getting in on some amount of afternoon thunderstorms today. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let us see what's happening right now. We can see the greens, we can see the yellows and the oranges within all of that represent some moderate to heavy rainfall. And this is as of 7:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So this is what, as of what, 6 minutes ago. We can see that we have some amount of rainfall to the south of Puerto Rico, to the northeast of Puerto Rico, to the north of the British and US Virgin Islands. Some rainfall inland across Puerto Rico, across portions of the coastal areas to the east of San Juan, the capital. And let us load these images from earlier today to show the heavy rainfall that lashed portion of Puerto Rico. So we definitely had that rainfall across southern and southwestern Puerto Rico. Look at that deep convection right there building across southwestern Puerto Rico today. Look at that, yellows, oranges, reds. That's some, definitely some bad weather for sure. If we zoom out, we can make out that flow coming in more so from the northeast for the most part, to show that we don't have that strong easterly flow at all, because we don't have a ridge of high pressure. Even on the Barbados radar, we don't see the usual rainfall pushing from east to west. They're barely even moving. They kind of even look like they're pushing eastward in a sense. We see some rainfall bounce to the east of Barbados, to the north of Barbados, to the west southwest of Barbados, across portions of the Grenadine Islands. Some of that rainfall to the east of Grenada, to the east of Tobago as we speak. Not seeing much of activity across Trinidad right now. But if we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall right there to the south of Florida, across Cuba, some rainfall across the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala, section of Honduras getting in some of the rainfall. So too some isolated shores across section of Colombia, northwestern Venezuela, northeastern Venezuela, as well as coastal areas of Guyana as well. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. We can see the greens, the yellows, the oranges that represent anywhere from 0.2 of an inch all the way up to 0.5 of an inch of rainfall, so isolated showers, while the reds represent all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall. Definitely in store, or the most in the way of rainfall, definitely in store for those areas across the northwestern Caribbean, section of the Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, section of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, section of Colombia, Venezuela getting in a some amount of rainfall too. If we scroll down, we see some rainfall in store for section of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, as well as section of Trinidad and Tobago, section of Grenada, some rainfall for portions of the Leeward Islands. So anywhere across Guadeloupe northward, maybe Antigua and Barbuda, section of the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, section of Jamaica, section of the Bahamas, as well as the Turks and Caicos, and even portions of Florida too. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.